All right, let's talk about something tasty. And no, I'm not talking about your latest crush. I'm talking about Twisted Sisters Nutrition of Franklin, Kentucky. These ladies know how to mix up something sweet, sassy, and seriously satisfying. Whether it's a loaded tea that'll have you buzzing in all the right ways, or a protein shake that tastes way too good to be healthy. They've got flavor, they've got energy, and honey, they've got style. One sip and you'll be saying, where have you been all my life? So if you're ready for a little flirtation with fitness, swing by Twisted Sisters Nutrition in Franklin. It's the healthiest relationship you'll ever fall for. Tell the girls at the counter you're with the Fine By Me podcast and get $1 off your order.
Fine by me.
Because you deserve it. Located at 104 South Main Street in beautiful Franklin, Kentucky.
Franklin, Kentucky.
Go ahead and go get you a tea. Or you can call in order to go at 270-532-0710. Go on, treat yourself. Take a load off and grab a seat. Pull up a chair, prop up the feet. That's fine by me. Fine by me. Yeah. It's podcast time. Flirting with Melissa's sister, too. But, of course, he's going to flirt with me a little bit.
Got to.
The alpha.
How does that make you feel when a guy...
Alpha. When what?
I think it's cool when dudes give other dudes compliments.
Oh, yeah. For sure.
Yeah, we don't do it enough.
Dude,
I don't feel
You
like.
know, I toss
Straight-
out a compliment.
Straight guys are out here struggling for some love.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. A compliment can last me a week.
Oh, dude, Saturday night, we went and grabbed dinner, and we were in a drive-thru at one of the local restaurants, and a guy come through the drive-thru to tell me hi. Went through, Christy was in the driver's seat, told me, see me inside in the bar, come through the drive-thru window and told me hi, and I've been living off that all week. Just that guy making it a point to see me that much.
He said, hey, been listening to the podcast. Here's a fan of Fine By Me.
That's exactly what he said, and I said, tune in
I
Thursday.
was actually talking to my work group of friends or whatever, and they were talking about like sending GIFs or GIFs. GIFs, sorry.
Peanut butter?
Peanut butter. GIFs and memes and stuff, and I was like, if I send a meme to like one of my group chats and I can get everyone to react to it, I'll ride that high for 3 or 4 days.
Oh, that's tough. That's tough.
I'll tell you what, GIF and GIF reminds me, I was on a bachelor party trip one time, and we were going to a beach, but we stopped at a restaurant before we got to the hotel the first night, and, you know, there's like 8 of us, and they're like, how are we going to meet girls? And I was like, this is super easy, guys. We just got to come up with something to talk to them about. So I went around to every table
Super easy.
every table at that beachside restaurant, and it didn't matter if it was girls, if it was married couples, if it was families.
Well, what was the name of it? Was it like Slutty McCum Alligator?
Joe's Crab Shack.
Yeah.
We were at Joe's Crab Shack.
Yeah. Dick's Last Chance. Fat girls, all fat girls welcome. You know?
So Joe's Crab
Yeah,
Shack.
I just went around asking everybody, is it GIF or GIF? And then I kept a tally, and I just went around the whole restaurant, and it was like 48 to 60 or something like that. But there's a big group of bachelorettes there too, and we ended up seeing them on the beach like 2 days later. So I got to tell them what the score was, so that initiated contact. You know,
Okay.
Initiate the conversation, guys, and never give up on your hopes and dreams.
I remember,
Right?
speaking of that, we went to Panama City Beach for like our senior trip, and we were on the beach, like me and 5 of my buddies. So 6 dudes, 17, 18 years old. Well, we were on the beach, and these girls come walking by, very attractive, around our age, and so we were like, damn, we got to holler at these girls. So we finally, 6 dudes on 2 chicks is pretty aggressive anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It's like the shark circle.
Yeah, so like that was already like we were already fucking up, you know what I mean? But I remember like this was
Blood in the water.
we were like circled them, you know. So like I remember like looking over and we're talking to these chicks, and I look over at my buddy Alan, and he wasn't interested in these chicks at all. He was just one of these dudes doing his own thing. He's like standing at like where the fucking breakwater comes in and it pulls the sand back out, you know, like it'll pull like your feet underneath. I look over and he's buried like up to his shins in like sand, and like we're trying to talk to these girls, and I'm like, dude, what is he doing?
He just keeps getting shorter.
shorter. Yeah, he's just grinning.
He's over there got a blunt to himself, just fucking eyes.
So finally, we get these chicks to give us a phone number, which I'm sure wasn't a real phone number because we don't have a pen, no cell phone, nothing. So I look over, my buddy's like scrambling, and he
what
like
am I supposed to do with this?
he like
Pay
goes
phone?
over and gets a stick and like writing these numbers in the sand.
Oh my god!
This whole 10-digit phone number, and I'm like, dude, nobody's ever going to remember that. He's like, I'm going to go up to the room and get my flip phone and take a picture of it. Like, all right. So sure enough, the chicks walk off. We're all like guarding this phone number. Like 2 of us are standing there guarding this phone number.
Building a moat around it.
So we ended up getting the phone number, right?
Okay.
So later that night, we go eat supper, and we get done. Like, you know what? Let's go. We're hyped about this all day. We're going to meet these chicks.
So are y'all there alone, or is there parents involved?
No, it's just us there alone. We drove down there.
Okay.
And we got.
Sounds like there's parents involved.
No.
I'm not sure why y'all even left them. Like, why was there a phone number even need to be exchanged? Y'all should have just continued on.
Well, they were going to do something, and we were going to.
Should have went with them. Is what I'm saying.
You're right. We should have, but we didn't. So
Okay.
anyway, so we were going to hang out that night. That's why they gave us the phone number. They were staying at a hotel down close to ours, and we were going to hang out.
Okay.
So we call the number, and it ends up being one of those chicks, and like, yeah, come to this hotel and hang out. You know, bring booze, whatever. So we get like all the booze we got, like thinking we're going to like just
Smirnoff
It's
Ice,
just going to be us.
Smirnoff
Dude,
Triple
we
Black.
had Evan Williams rye, not even bourbon, because we couldn't find anybody to buy us the bourbon. Like we went to Chuck's and got the rye, the green bottle, Evan Williams.
What'd you say, Chuck's? They got Chuck's down there?
No, before we left, we had to have people buy our shit before we come down there. We had to carry it all.
I was like, how'd you get the
Yeah, we took like 6 cases of Busch Light and then like 2 bottles of that Evan Williams and like some Bacardi, the clear, whatever, Superior.
Oh,
maybe?
your rum?
Yeah, the rum.
Okay.
So we take like some of that shit over there. We get over there, dude, and it's like all dudes that are like older than us, like
Oh, my God.
college dudes. They take all of our shit pretty much, and like we pretty much don't even get let inside the hotel room. Like we just got bamboozled. So like everybody's mad as fuck. So like they're like, we're gonna go back and like fucking like steal some
Start
shit. Or whatever.
swinging?
Yeah, pretty much. I'm like, no, we're not. I'm going back to the hotel room. This was stupid. So nothing ever happened. That was the end of the story. That was it.
I would have to see what
That's
these
when
chicks...
I first started hating women.
I would have to see what these chicks looks like versus what y'all look like to know if y'all were really kicking out of your coverage.
Way out, dude. I remember. I even remember thinking back then, way out. I was like, we don't need to go talking to these chicks. Alan's over here burying himself by himself. Yeah, we don't need to. They're way out. They were hanging out with college dudes.
Somehow this dude has found quicksand.
Yeah, we got dudes that are going to Florida State kicking us out of a high school girls' party, you know?
Yeah, probably a kicker on the football team.
Yeah.
That is fantastic.
Way out. We wasted a whole day chasing 6 dudes chasing 2 chicks, you know?
That
Y'all
is
remember them
awesome.
days, though?
Yeah.
They knew. They were like, these high school guys.
Yeah, we're gonna get them. They got us. They got us, dude. We fell hard. We were like,
Easy
dude,
peasy.
we're fucking pimps, dude. We got these chicks, 6 of us. I remember us arguing about who was gonna get who, and I was like, nobody's getting nothing.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I think
I'm gonna go with Alan. I'm going where Alan's going. We're gonna go hang out. Y'all go ahead.
It's funny. I'll bring this up later whenever I bring up my subject, but it's like before you're 25, your prefrontal cortex isn't fully
you're
developed
retarded
yet,
still.
so you don't have any kind of impulse control or any like. I think it's impulse control, decision making, and something else I'm forgetting.
And
maybe.
to back that up, if you're an addict, you stop maturing at the age you start using or drinking. So like I started about 14 or 15, so my prefrontal cortex was way behind. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like my impulse control. And all
It'll
that.
keep going though, like as long as you don't.
Yeah, you know what I mean. I'm just
Yeah.
saying, like to kind of add that to it.
Yeah, it'll slow her down.
Am I finally aging now that I'm sober?
Since I've been sober about 4 years, I can tell a difference in my brain activity, like how I look at things, like for real.
Didn't do shit for his productivity though.
No.
Oh, my productivity's fine. I walk every day. That's hard enough.
That's all perspective.
Yeah. I mean,
That-
I mean, like, well, I mean, that would have been while you were in the depths of it, whenever
Right.
you were climbing poles.
Oh,
and
yeah, I was
whatnot.
drinking. I was going home every night and drinking 12 to 18 beers and getting up and doing it the next day.
I'm surprised you weren't drinking while you were climbing poles.
I couldn't
to
do
be
that.
honest.
I couldn't. I wouldn't drink
Man,
while I
you
was
imagine
working.
sweating out your pores?
I would
But-
sweat like a motherfucker. I remember my
Well,
foreman.
I mean, I remember working with people outside,
Mm-hmm.
and they would. I mean, I would get to work. I don't remember where I was. Like, I worked at so many random places while I was in college, and I would get there, and there would be this old guy. He'd be like, "You had your breakfast yet?" And he would just like crack a bush light right in front of me.
I never
Where
done
is
that.
this?
It was in Bowling
Like a
Green
parts
somewhere.
house or something?
Yeah, it was like a parts house or.
Shaw.
All I was doing really was like running parts back and forth somewhere. I mean, and they paid me like $16 an hour in 2008, 2007 to do
Yeah.
that. So I was like,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
And everybody I worked with was 60 plus years old and an alcoholic.
Yeah. Well, I mean, all the
Drinking at
guys.
warehouse.
I mean, they all had coolers full of beer and driving
Well,
forklifts.
I guess the reason that kind of, we had Class A CDL, we had to drive trucks and stuff all the time. So, like, we wouldn't be drinking while we're working. But, I mean, I remember sweating.
I mean,
though.
these guys are forklift certified, Josh.
Oh, I hear you. I don't know if they were working with high voltage lines though. Yes, a little different. I remember like we would wear like those rubber gloves, and I would just like dump sweat out of them. Like it'd just be just
Oh, I don't
sweat.
doubt it. I just it would make me sweat a million times more if I was on a hot job site and also just slinging back bush lights or something.
Mm-hmm. I remember
the whole time.
it
I'd do
was-
that if I go out to the. I'd do that if I went out on the lake and somebody. Was
Oh,
like,
for sure, yeah. Just sweating, yeah. It's naturally just trying to get rid of all that fluid and that soda. That it's full of sodium. But yeah, crazy.
I
shit.
worked from like 16 to 20. I worked with a bunch of old men. Whenever I didn't have a job, I would go help them for a week or two until I found like a good job. Yeah. But they would crack beers. We would meet at 5. They were cracking beers at 5:30 a.m. Me too, if they
Insane.
let me have one. And yeah, so that's where I learned. Hey, it's fucking fine. We can do
Right.
this. We can do
It
this.
does, man.
Yeah, and then we would, the American Legion or the VFW would open at like 11:30, so we would quit at about 11:45 every day. No eat lunch, straight to the VFW, and we were done for the rest of the day. Yeah, we'd work about 6
Them old
hours,
guys.
real fucking early in the morning.
There's a little bar in Bowling Green. It might still be there called Little Brown Jugs.
it's not. That was right next to my house whenever I lived there.
But my foreman, he would say like back in the day, like all those old school linemen, they would get off on Thursday, and on Monday he would have to go bail them out of jail and go to the pawn shop and buy their belt and hooks where they'd pawned them for fucking more beer and shit at the bar. Yeah, every Monday he'd have to go get them out of jail.
Fun Bowling Green fact: Little Brown Jug, the owner of its son, ended up being a lawyer. And whenever they passed the law in Bowling Green to make places smoke free, like you couldn't smoke in them, his son somehow got them a permit to allow them to continue smoking inside.
Wow.
It's funny how
See,
that
I always
works.
thought that song, Give Me 3 Steps,
Yeah,
the bar that they got in the fight in was called the Brown Jug.
it is called Brown
And
Jug.
So there was a rumor that song was
About that
based out
bar,
of the Little Brown Jug.
it's an old bar.
Yeah.
Been there a
It
long
was-
time.
It was. I
Old
think
school
it's shut. I'm 90% sure it's not there. Well,
I wouldn't know. Yeah, it's called. That's what you call a hole in the wall. for
well, it
sure.
was there until I left Bowling Green in 2017. So I mean,
I mean, it was
that was
there
only.
in 2015. I was still working for, doing power line work. Or
Yeah, I was
whatever.
gonna say, it was only 8 years ago.
I'd almost do $20 to say that building was from the 1800s.
I mean, it
It's
was
probably tore down
It
now.
wasn't nothing.
Yeah, it's gone.
Yeah,
I mean, that thing was propped up by toothpicks,
dude,
pretty
it
much.
looked like the old. It's like the Alamo. It's just sitting there, baby.
That thing
It's the
was-
Alamo of Louisville Road or whatever it is.
Yeah, nothing was holding that thing up.
And I think it takes about 120 years for a place to look like that.
It was on the corner of Riverwood and Louisville Road. Or no, that's 31. Riverwood and
Yeah.
31.
Over there
31.
by Tattletale.
Yeah, that area.
Man, I swear.
Smoky
this
Pig.
dude- This dude named
Smoky Pig's on Louisville Road.
Cool. Yeah, it's close though, isn't it?
Yeah, Smoky Pig's on Old Louisville Road,
Oh, okay.
which is, it's close. I mean,
It's all that's side town.
Yeah, but that's technically the bypass that Little Brown Jug was on.
got this guy named Uncle Larry. And this is where I was trying to go the other day when I was talking about, like, hanging out with like your rich buddies, uncles, you know, and stuff like that. Like you got to be like well behaved around them. The other day at the end of the podcast, when I just cut the podcast off, because I got stuck in this, you got to flirt with old men with money.
Yeah, okay.
Thing. But
you already talked about a long time ago. You talked about this old man that you let carry you around
The parking lot.
That's not Uncle Larry.
for like $50, and then you never got paid.
No,
or
this
something.
guy looked like the dude off Wonder Years.
The son, what's his name?
Yeah,
Peter.
is it Fred?
Fred, yeah.
Yeah.
The actor's name.
Yeah.
But anyway,
He looks like a child.
the dude that carried me in the McDonald's parking lot.
Yeah. Anyway, we're on.
Yeah.
That's a different story.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a different
We're
story.
talking about
So,
Uncle Larry now, though.
Okay,
He swears
Uncle Larry.
up and down. He's best friends with Cecil Martin, who is married into the Houchins fortune. He's like the heir of the Houchins fortune.
Name drop.
Yeah.
Cecil Martin.
Yeah, Cecil Martin. But he swears, and he's told this story so many times, that they landed a hot air balloon at the Telltale's parking lot.
They probably did.
Yeah. And I just think that is so much fun to think.
It is cool. They used to have that balloons, tunes, and barbecue up there in Bowling Green.
They still do, I think.
Do they?
That was
yeah,
good.
they still do, I think.
Y'all ever been up in a hot air balloon?
I went up on one in Balloons Tunes.
You
It
know
was
that-
tethered.
Oh,
It
yeah.
was tethered, though. We didn't go anywhere.
I don't really think you can steer those, can
And you
you?
use the wind. You can use your propane
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah, you
That-
just
that-
up and down's all you
Yeah.
got.
No, that little engine
got a
thing
rudder.
that shoots at it. Yeah, you can push it one way or the other with that.
Okay.
They were
You
using.
just got to be smart enough to know where the wind's going that day.
They used.
If it takes a shit turn on the weather that you weren't expecting, then I mean it is what it is, kind of deal. But
They used to use hot air balloons in wars. Civil War. They used hot air balloons. The Confederates did to do recon on the North.
oh, I thought you were going to talk about Zeppelins.
Oh, that was World War II.
Yeah, German
They should have
Zeppelins.
painted them blue, trying to make them look like a cloud
Do
or
you,
something. You know?
the U.S. Air Force tried to create a Zeppelin that had planes inside of it. It was a flying air fortress,
Yeah.
and there were planes. They had like 4 or 6 airplanes that were like stationed inside of the hot air balloon. That's what we called it. We didn't call it a Zeppelin, but
Who's we? Were you back
the
there?
Americans, the
Oh,
government,
okay.
our government created a Zeppelin to rival the Germans after World War
okay.
One. So, and it just had the biplanes. Of course, back then they didn't have like cockpit airplanes, so they
Yeah.
would have 4 airplanes and there's like 2 on each side, and they had a commander in like all this area, and they would go in an area where there was like a lot of like maybe like naval boats or other aircraft fighting and deploy these airplanes, but it didn't work out good in battle because of obviously other airplanes shooting at the
I was
fucking
going to say
Zeppelin.
it's such a big target,
Right,
and
but that's why it never did work.
I don't know. I honestly don't know what the U.S.
I mean, is it like a
ones-
big blimp? Is
Yeah,
that
that's
we're
what. Yeah,
talking
blimp.
about?
Yeah, Mhm.
Yeah, but the Zeppelins, the air that was in there, it was flammable, wasn't it?
No, it isn't all of them. It's It's some kind of helium and shit.
Okay.
Yeah, but see, they had used they had thought about that, and they had lined inside this thing with like metal and shit, so it made it crazy heavy too. So it ended up there was like a catastrophe. It ended up killing a bunch of people.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. It's
Yeah.
actually a Led Zeppelin album cover.
Yeah,
I don't
but yeah,
remember which
it
one.
went
It's like
down.
Chapter
Yeah,
3 or Chapter 4 or something.
yeah, I think it's 4. Yeah, it went down. But yeah,
Zeppelin down.
and then that one caught on fire. The one in Germany, the Hindenburg or whatever,
Yeah.
the one that fucking exploded like a bomb. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But yeah, speaking of bombs, man, I know we didn't say we talk about Chernobyl tonight, but dude, I've been deep diving on that shit. It's crazy.
On who?
Chernobyl, like
yeah.
the shit they tried to cover up. I guess like the USSR.
I know Nick brought up the elephant foot last week.
Oh yeah,
And then I saw a video of this pack of dogs that still live in Chernobyl.
Mhm.
All the family pets, they have all just mixed into one very particular breed of dog that only lives in Chernobyl. And
I'm
they
sure.
are all friendly and beautiful, and their coats are beautiful, and no one feeds them, but they're all healthy as shit.
Well, I'm
And-
sure. I mean, they're animals. I'm sure they're figuring that out.
yeah.
Yeah.
There's some kind of shit growing in Chernobyl that's like new. You know what I mean? Like there's some kind of fungus that's like evolved. It's like growing out of the ground. It looks like some shit.
It feeds off of radiation.
Yeah,
doesn't it?
it looks like some shit from Stranger Things. It
Yeah.
looks like that, like it's black, like it's growing out of the earth. But yeah, they said it'd be thousands of years before people could ever even, like where that one cooling tower 4, the one that's the sarcophagus around.
Yeah.
It's the most dangerous place on earth.
That's wild.
Yeah, like 2 minutes. I think 2 minutes around that one tower, you're dead instantly.
I was going to say, yeah, because Nick was talking about the person that got the original picture of the elephant foot. Like, he died, 3 or 4 days later or something.
Yeah.
Or,
Yeah, I'm going to deep dive.
I think because the picture I actually put in on last week's episode was from, I think I said 2007, somewhere between 2007 and 2010, I think. And I'm pretty sure I ended up looking that up after the podcast, and they used a robot to, like a rover type of deal, to go in there and get a new picture of it.
Yeah.
Because they knew that even like our suits can't.
Right, yeah, it's so much. I think even up until like 2002 or something, part of the plant was still operating until they built this new plant in Ukraine that is like the biggest plant in Europe, I think.
Yeah.
And they would just send in crews like once every 3 months to do shit like that day and go back out. And that's just, they would just let it run, idle or whatever.
Do they get nuclear from uranium?
Yeah, that's weapons grade. For weapons, it's weapons grade uranium. I don't know any differences or nothing. But the uranium we use for power is like uranium-259 or some kind of shit.
Yeah, we went over this. And
I'm not a physicist. I've got a book coming. It's like the breakdown of what happened, the political fallout, and like it goes into like there's like diary entries in there of like people that had to like kill pets, that like they had to go into these towns and like shoot all the animals because they were contaminated.
Yeah,
like because people left their pets, cows, whatever, chickens, whatever. They had to go through. 3 guys had to go through and kill every animal in all these little towns and go door to door. You know what I mean? It's fucking terrible. Like I couldn't imagine. But really, if you think about it, that's probably the most humane thing they could do.
Yeah, I mean, sure, that's a great deal of suffering.
The radiation poisoning or whatever.
Yeah, radiation poisoning. It starts with just a bunch of vomiting, and then you just kind of
you bleed out inside out
from there or whatever.
Like your cells just start blowing up pretty much.
But it's kind of the same thing. Like we were talking about, because I think whenever I brought this up forever ago, one of our big questions was that actually the goons sent in is why Chernobyl was so different than Hiroshima and Nagasaki. And this is not something I'm going to be able to bring up, it looks like right now, because I don't have that kind of memory for numbers. But it was a large difference, and it's also a different kind of uranium. Weapons grade also, is meant to do more damage, but Chernobyl was just so much more than what was. It was literally, I think it may have been quarters of percentages of what was at Chernobyl is what we dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
They say in that show, the guy that was talking about it, that every day that the reactor core was open at Chernobyl was 48 Hiroshimas and Nagasaki's.
Okay, yeah.
Every 24 hours.
Wow.
Was 48 of those.
Wow.
Yeah. So 2 every hour times 24, and then every day.
Or 1 every 30 minutes.
Yeah. So it was 2 of those every hour.
Do you know what a cure for radiation poisoning is?
Iodine.
DUBBY energy drink.
Oh. Iodine stops your thyroid, though, from absorbing it.
This episode of FineBYMe is powered by DUBBY energy drink, the only beverage legally classified as both a liquid and a challenge to Zeus. You tired? Lethargic? Thinking about texting your ex for the 7th time this week? DUBBY says nope! Just one sip and suddenly you're mowing the lawn at 3 a.m., applying for 12 jobs, and solving a cold case from 1998. No sugar, no crash, just pure unregulated chaos. It's like if lightning got into an argument with a chainsaw and then kissed a warlock. So grab a DUBBY, crack it open, and tell reality to catch up. Get 10% off, or is it 10?
10%.
Yeah.
10%. Yep.
Yeah. When you use the promo code FineByMe.
Is that all caps?
I think so.
I don't think it matters.
It's a point of contention around here, and I don't like confrontation.
I do.
At dubby.gg. That's it.
W.gg. I don't know why they couldn't do .com, because W.gg does not roll off the tongue. It sounds like it's made up.
Let's choose our words wisely.
No, we're an affiliate, dude. We're salesmen. They ain't giving us nothing.
Affiliate these nuts.
Yeah, we're just selling it. Get W or don't.
I was going through.
Get Dubby or don't.
Or don't.
I was
Not GG.
going through this book right now, and I've landed on a page that I don't know, some gal maybe that I.
What is this? Is that a heart?
Yeah, it says I love you.
Looks like a child wrote it.
Yeah. It says I love you. So somebody.
That may be Nick
some
left.
gal,
That's Nick left-handed.
No, it's not.
When you left it here?
No, I wouldn't.
Oh, that's a note left by a lover in your house.
Yeah, I love her at my house.
Undercover lover.
Do you love her?
Undercover lover. What
Love her?
Y'all been watching this The Hunt for Bin Laden on Netflix? Y'all check that out?
No, because he's still alive.
It's fantastic though because it really does hit. Y'all know I'm a huge George W. Bush aficionado. I like
Folks
him.
around here call me Dubby.
I like him. I think he's. I won't say he's a good president, but are they all? Are any of them good presidents?
No.
You know, I like his book, Decision Points. Check it out. But anyway, it's just cool to see like how pissed off he was. You know, because he really was. He was fired up. Like George W. Bush. Like you don't see that kind of emotion a lot of times. Like we're going to get them sons of bitches.
Yeah.
You know,
He's a really good actor,
Yeah.
I think.
maybe.
I think he was a really good actor. I think he was, because I think he's a lot smart. And I'm not saying that just about 9/11.
He went to Yale.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Smart.
He played the dumb part
Yeah,
very well.
He still does. He's
Yeah.
very. That's what makes him likable.
Yeah.
You know,
I was going to say, I think that was the plan all along.
he's
I mean,
relatable that way.
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
they're all, the Bush family is American royalty. I mean, really.
Yeah.
I mean, them and the Kennedys are the same.
Cheney's as well.
Cheney's too. All those people.
Yeah.
You know, they're up there with the Rockefellers and shit, except in government.
Clintons. Can't
Clintons,
forget
yeah.
them too.
All
yeah.
that. Yeah. But it's just neat.
Getting where it's Trump's as well.
Yeah. I mean, that's what they're doing. I
Yeah.
mean, that's what happens. You know.
Yeah.
But I just thought it was wild because we were 12, 13 years old when that happened.
Yeah.
But they have like footage or like ground footage of like the plane hitting, and like it like brings back all those feelings, dude. Like you know what I mean? Just seeing that shit, like 'cause, you know, like I don't watch it very often, like you know what I mean, and just like the different angles and to see like the people on the ground, like at that level, like how it affected the people that were there.
Yeah.
You know, because no matter what you believe, people. I mean, Americans died. You know, it's shitty.
Yeah, no matter what you believe.
It's
yeah.
shitty. I mean, it's
Yeah,
an
it sucks.
attack on our homeland. I mean, regardless if it was domestic, foreign, whatever, you know. But it just that kind of puts it in a whole different perspective for me. Was just that, and then also how much we dropped the ball, dude, hunting for that guy. Like we could have probably had him killed the first year had we just sent forces in. Like the problem with America is that just like USSR trying to cover up Chernobyl is we want to fund and control the global political climate, but we don't want to send Americans in, right? Because then that puts us in a war, even though we're still pulling all the strings. So had they sent in 800 or 1,000 Rangers or Marines when they had him cornered in that cave in 2004, then
Yeah.
we wouldn't have, 8 more years of that shit
20
or whatever.
20
Yeah.
plus.
yeah.
I mean, we just pulled out 2 years ago,
Unlike
3 years ago.
I ever have.
Okay, it's also funny we didn't like plan to bring these things, but it's another thing that's going to like pop up whenever I talk about my thing, and it's for Project Stargate.
Only thing that pulls out here is the couch.
Yeah, and this one don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one does
This
not.
one does not have a bed in it. This was from the 1800s.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just think it's wild, like how, like just I guess you really see how like government does not work well together at all. Like you know what I mean? Like we know it doesn't. Like they like these different departments. Like,
Yeah,
they let the CIA run the operation to look for Bin Laden, but then when the CIA asked for help, Donald Rumsfeld said, "No, that's a CIA operation. It's not Defense Department." But like, what the fuck, don't know.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely too many cooks in the kitchen.
Yeah, that's
I
what
think
it
it's
is.
kind of the best way to
Too
say it.
many.
But anyway, Hunt for Bin Laden. It's on Netflix. I think
Watch
it's
it. I haven't
3
watched it yet.
episodes.
It's probably
good.
it's probably interesting.
It's good.
I just know the whole time I'm watching it, I'll be like, this is
I watch everything as a historical
Bullshit.
observer. I plan on writing a book in 20 years about all this shit going on. You know what I mean? I'll be one of them guys that writes a book.
I'll write a book 20 years ago. 20 years ago, yeah, 20 years ago. Whenever I figure out how to time travel about this podcast, it's going to happen 20 years from now.
We guys, go ahead and start advertising. It's gonna take 20 years to get us to 1,000 subscribers. We got it. Hey, we have 100 now. Did y'all see that on YouTube?
What was he
YouTube.
supposed to do? Was he supposed to like shave half his head or something?
No, that was 500. We have
What
to get
was he gonna
500.
do?
Not 100. It was 500. I was gonna stick my nub in some cheese dip.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that.
Yeah. No, I think it was 100.
It was 500
I
because
don't know. We'll have to
means-
go back.
Yeah, it might have been 50.
We'll have to go back.
No, we've had 50 for a while.
I would love to go back.
Somebody look that up.
Yeah.
If anybody wants to
We'll
take the
look it up.
time,
We'll
yeah,
look it
and
up.
we will send you a free shirt.
it's 500 and a sticker or two. We got some new stickers. Pretty tough.
Yeah, we have stickers.
We got some new ones. Finally, they bullied me into finally getting them.
Took
I
a
just
year.
got back. We're gonna use the twist. Well,
Twisted Tees.
no. We're gonna get some new shirts.
Yeah, we
in the
are.
next few weeks.
Yeah, they're gonna be tight
And
too.
I just got back from my vacation.
yeah.
So I got
how was that, dude? we
Man,
haven't even
so
talked about
good.
it.
I gotta go talk to Cody at the t-shirt place. But yeah, just got back from Boise, big time. Boise's a great little city.
Did you see the blue football field?
I mean, I drove by the stadium. Couldn't see the field.
That's
from the road.
Albertson Stadium, I think. Yes.
Albertsons is a big food
That's
chain
where it
out
started,
there.
I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then any of our agriculture friends know who Simplot is. Simplot started out there too, and this dude was rich.
I'm sure.
He like funded all these city museums and stuff.
That's pretty sick.
Yeah. Has like the Jump Center, which is like Jack's urban meeting place.
The rich people here just buy up real estate and just put fences around it. They don't even do nothing
Yeah,
with
this
it.
is more of a Brad and Kelly type guy.
Yeah.
Giving back to the community, if you will.
Big potato state.
Big Tater State.
Big potato state, Idaho. I do like Idaho's potatoes.
You don't know anything about it, Josh.
They are a root vegetable.
Hey, what do they like over there? Did you get any
Oh yeah, how are the
fresh-
people?
Did you get any fresh taters over there?
I'm sure I did. I don't remember them really. They don't talk about them much in Boise.
Really?
It's like us and our
It'd be like-
tobacco patches.
Yeah.
It'd be like being on the East Coast and having like fresh caught cod.
Or here having tobacco out the field, you know,
Yeah,
roll it
They
up.
did have some fresh trout. There's a
No, you did. No, I'm just
the
kidding.
river that runs through
Yeah.
Boise is all snow melt.
Yeah.
Had some
It's
trouser
actually a
snake.
desert.
I'm
It's
sure
actually-
that's a really good place to get trout, actually.
Yeah.
Trout.
But if you saw those fucking mountains, you would understand why, like, people that were traveling out west, you go over one mountain range, and then Boise is this huge valley in between two mountain ranges. So you're traveling west,
You're tired
it's
as hell.
1812.
You got fucking dysentery and you
Yeah.
done lost a child to
You just
diphtheria.
got through one mountain range, and then you see this massive 100,000 acre flat valley.
And then a
You're
huge mountain range
like,
past
on the
it.
other side, and you're like,
That's
I'm
home.
gonna stay here.
This is home.
Yeah, let's just settle right here.
Same thing happened in Denver, I believe, too. That was what I remember.
I think about
Denver.
it. I
Was-
probably
The airport's in the real flatland, and then you drive towards the mountains, and I can just imagine those people are like, let's just stay here.
Yeah.
So what's that say about our ancestors? 'Cause I know my ancestors come in Maryland, and we stopped here. We said, "Fuck this." We got past Appalachian and said, "No, we ain't going no farther." They saw that big river and said, "We're gonna go back. We're
Yeah,
gonna
I
turn
was
around."
going to say, I feel like if I remember right, like what my grandpa, he did a bunch of research on it, and I think we were in the Appalachians for
Yeah.
a long, long time, like just living in the mountains.
You know when y'all come over?
Not off the top of my head right now, no.
I think they got us at like between 17, 15, and 18. We've got people that fought in the Revolutionary War in my family that lived in Maryland. And also got people that fought on both
Probably
sides.
on the wrong side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Family
But
did.
for the British.
They were,
They did fight for the British. That's what I was getting at. They didn't
Yeah.
fight for the Americans.
Yeah. I think we were like with
It's
we
all
were
starting to
after
make
that.
sense now.
Yeah.
I mean, back then, you think though, 17, 18, I mean, we didn't have, that's
You know who
two
my family
generations.
fought for, Josh?
Let me hold on. Don't tell me. Let me guess. Red, white, and blue. George,
America, buddy.
George Washington first started out fighting for the British. You know that? You know what I mean? Then he flipped.
Yeah, because he saw the light.
And then Horatio
been
Gates,
baptized.
the other general, he was gonna cut a deal with the British. He was tired of fighting. He said, "Let's just cut a deal, dude. Let's stop this."
It's like the same thing that things are trying to do over there.
I don't do that hole over there. I don't even understand what's going on.
Me neither. Yeah.
What is a Gaza? You know what I mean?
I was kind of talking about Ukraine.
Ukraine,
but-
yeah, that's never going to end over there.
I think the Gaza one's the one that's never going to end, but I think Ukraine and Russia will
I think now
the
though,
knee will eventually get bent.
Well, the Bible predicts that area will never be
Yeah, Gaza and Israel.
with peace.
Yeah.
they the Russian soldiers apparently aren't wanting a peace deal now because they think if they have a ceasefire or quit the war, that all their comrades have died in vain. So now they want to keep it going until they get what they want.
Russia's going to get what they want.
The Donbas and all that shit. They're going to get Crimea. I think they already got Crimea back.
Yeah, they're going to get what they want.
Yeah, they're going to get what they want.
I always called it Crimea.
They say Crimea.
Crimea
I think
River.
they say both. Yeah.
Would you
That's what
please?
they're doing.
Would you please?
What's going to happen? What's going to happen?
Red coat.
Is Russia is going to, like you said, get the land they want, and then they're going to have that territory, and then we're going to take Ukraine and say, "Hey, you owe us $500 billion. We're going to get all your minerals." That's what's about to happen.
I wouldn't doubt it.
That's what's going to happen. That's the only way I see Ukraine getting out of this without more people dying. That's the only way this happens.
Yeah.
You know, it sucks for Ukraine, but you know, damn.
Does it really?
I don't know. What's, like I said, I don't know. It seems like it does.
To be honest, I mean, like if you like, it's funny. Like you could, like if you use Snapchat, you can roll through Snapchat and see like where the hot zones are.
Yeah.
And you can tap on it and see people's stories that are public.
Yeah.
And you can do that in Ukraine, and they're just at soccer games.
I thought it was like normal. Like I'm sure there's battles going on, you know, or skirmishes or whatever.
Yeah,
Dust ups, if you will.
Yeah. Kyiv is definitely not a good place to be.
Well, it's the capital though. That's why. You know.
But
it's
like,
just,
there's people at nightclubs and everything else. Like you can see it like on the daily that they're just kind of chilling over there. But I guess that's probably also why the governments like these are just snatching people off the street to conscript them or whatever.
Yeah.
For the army.
It's wild shit.
Hey, that was a romantic thought. Listen. That was a romantic thought when it first started. Like, man, I'm going to go to Ukraine.
I remember you went through a little spiral. You was going to join the National Guard and everything else.
Yeah, I talked about that during men's group.
God, I'm glad we talked you out of that shit.
Yeah.
God, you couldn't ever pass the physical.
Oh, I'd have been a super soldier.
Shit.
They would have fucking loved me.
God,
I'd been there, yes, sir. What do you need, Captain?
They'd have you out there looking for bombs.
They'd have me leading the marching.
They say just follow his ass. If he don't hit something, there ain't nothing out there. Well, let's get into Wes's segment here. You got anything for us, bub?
I do. I stumbled upon something a few days ago. I actually had a gal that I talked to sent me something about Project Looking Glass, and I looked back, and I know I've talked about Project Looking Glass on here before, but I could not find the episode. But then I just happened to stumble on Project Stargate, and I'll get to that in a minute. And I'll kind of glaze over it a little bit, but I'm going to go deep into that at some point. But this is a little segment I'd like to call on the Midnight Man.
Ooh, nothing good happens after midnight. That's what my buddy's dad used to tell us.
He's right.
Yeah.
He's right, unless you're home. You know what I mean?
So it's kind of like one of those urban legend type of deals, like a Hail Mary or Bloody Mary. Bloody Mary and the elevator game and, you know, those type of things.
Ooh, what's the elevator game?
Elevator game is you actually hit the buttons in a certain amount of order, and then you end it with 5, and you get to the floor 5, and you make sure you don't pay any attention to who gets in, and it's just this lady. And then if you did it right, it'll take you all the way to the top, and you go into the other dimension. But if you pay attention to the lady that gets in with you, she's going to fuck you up.
Oh, you got to ignore her?
Yeah, you got to ignore her. Don't pay her
That's
no
easy.
mind.
I do that. I mean, I've been practicing for years.
Yeah, by now, if we're close to 40. If you ain't got that down, then you ain't ever going to get it.
Yeah, I don't know the sequence on the elevator game or whatever, but on this one, it is you knock. There's a knock. You hear a knock on the door 22 times. You open the door and you have the light on. You have like a candle.
Hey.
You have a candle. You put out the light before you open the door. Then you close the door and turn the candle back or light the candle back. So this was said to be used for punishment in pagan religions. Like they would, the elders would do the knocking on the door or whatever. So they would put somebody in a cave or something and knock it and block it off. They would do the 22 knocks and let them go at it, but they wouldn't give them a light or anything. So today's is a game because you have the light, and as long as you keep your candle on, then you're fine.
Jeez.
But back then, the pagans would just throw them in there without a light and let them go crazy,
Shine your
basically.
fucking light on me.
We do some fucked up shit to each other, don't we?
Yeah, but you were nowadays the game that popped up, and the game popped up in 2010 after somebody found it in a book from forever ago. So you could avoid the actual. You could still see kind of the Shadow Man or the Midnight Man or whatever, but you wouldn't have all the terrible stuff happen to you. And then they also ended up
loophole.
Yeah, they also ended up saying you could, if your light did go out, you could put salt around you. You know that old shtick with the witches and whatnot or whatever.
Salt. Right,
But
Josh?
it's kind of the same type of deal.
You asked me a question.
It's kind of the same type of deal. Whenever the Midnight Dude was around, like the air would go cold, and he would. And nowadays for the game or whatever, supposedly he would like put your light out, and you would have to put it back on in 10 seconds, or else he would get a hold of you, type of deal.
Sounds pretty fucking crazy.
You just imagine a ghost. He blows your candle out, and then he's sitting there.
I just think about like Candyman, you know, Candyman.
That's what I'm saying. This is going to end up a little bit different than what y'all are probably going to think it's going to end up.
I'm picturing Candyman in my head.
Yeah.
Slender Man.
It was him too. Thinner. Remember that movie? Thinner.
So
Candyman, was that the guy at church that handed out candy to all the kids before church?
No, that was a different.
That was Tom Norwood.
Yeah, I think that's two different things.
Tom Norwood
That's a
at
real
our church.
person. A real person here in
Okay.
town.
Great guy.
Anyway, let's.
But the
Yeah, he is a good guy.
the Midnight Man fella, like the whole premise behind him was he didn't really do anything to you. He just knew what your greatest fear was, and he would bring that out. And I remember, and what this brought to me, and kind of what I thought was so interesting, was there was an episode of Cops and an episode of X-Files that had a crossover episode, and the whole episode was of a
Cops?
Yeah.
Cops. The
Cops.
show Cops.
Really? I would love to see that.
Yeah, the show Cops and X-Files had a crossover episode.
Scully out there busting
Yeah.
masturbators in the street on the subway and stuff.
Well, this was leaned more into this. It was like a Halloween episode, I think, and so the cops would end up showing up to these places, and they would have like werewolf marks on the door.
Werewolf.
And like they would go in, and they'd be like, "There was a werewolf outside, and I escaped it," and it was just this
He said,
shadow
oh,
man.
shit, does he have Parkinson's? He's Michael J. Fox.
Yeah,
Teen Wolf.
Michael's, yeah. But it ended up that being like that was that person's like worst fear, and then they ended up going like there was a hospital scene, and this person ended up having like a rapid onset hantavirus.
Damn. Hunter.
Hantavirus it makes pretty much all your internal organs bleed. So like she was a nurse, so that was her worst fear of catching hantavirus, and she did. And she died.
Yeah. Like radiation poison death.
Damn
Just bleed the fuck out.
Yeah.
That's bullshit, dude.
So there was a bunch of
That
reports,
sucks.
like all over the world, around of kind of the same type of deal. People would have nightmares after trying this challenge, et cetera, et cetera. And then, but it came to this point where I did kind of more research, try to find like more of these kind of shadow figures. And like in Newfoundland, they had something called the hag, which would just crawl up on you.
Josh's mom.
In your bed and sit on your chest type of deal. So these kind of things kind of remind me.
Sounds like her.
So you can't breathe.
Yeah, so these kind of things remind me of like sleep paralysis,
Yes,
demons or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about them. I've never had that happen.
You've never had sleep paralysis?
No.
Me
Dude,
neither.
I had it like a month ago. I hadn't had it in a long time, probably since we started the podcast because my mental health has got better.
Yeah.
But like I had it like I wasn't sleeping good about a month ago. Chrissy said I was laying in bed. And like I remember it now that she told me because like I was laying in bed and like I woke up. but like the blanket on me felt like it weighed like 1,000 pounds, and I could not like get up. And she said I was like making like moaning noises in my sleep. And I remember like finally like, and I couldn't like lift my head up. Like my head was like super heavy, and my neck couldn't pick my head up, and like my face was like starting to get in the pillow. I couldn't. Of course, I could breathe, but like I was freaking out. And finally, I just woke up.
Yeah.
That's how my sleep paralysis works.
Man, I fell asleep in the car after our hike in Boise the other day. Melissa's sister was driving, and she had to slam on the brakes one time, and I was dead asleep. And my head cracked forward and then cracked back so fucking fast.
Oh,
and
dude.
It sounded like I was popping my knuckles.
Jeez.
Just all those vertebrae popping.
You might need to call Smith and Smith.
Yeah.
The hag though sitting on
God
like
damn.
that kind of reminded me of sleep paralysis demon, but I went on to find Wei Ao Shin or something, which is I think
Not how you say it.
the Chinese one. I think that's a Chinese one, and it does the same thing, basically sitting on top of you where you can't move, and then Kashi Berry, which I'm not saying he's right because I don't know how to speak, but that's Japanese, and it also means one who confines, I believe is what Kashi Berry means.
I'm so fucking horny right
Is it racist if we get a gong and every time somebody says something Asian, I hit it?
No, I don't think
We
so.
talk about a lot of the Orient in this podcast. Here it is.
I think we have a whole episode called.
We do. It's called Oriental Trading Company. Check it out. Hold on.
And then it didn't work out very
No,
well.
it
That's
didn't.
also more Indian, I think.
Native American, some would say. That's
The Germans had something called Schottenwesten.
more Fleetwood Mac,
It was
really.
Schottenwesten. It was kind of more of the normal Midnight Man type of dude, and then Shadow People was something that the Egyptians called them. I had no idea how to say the Egyptian word for it, so I just wrote down Shadow People.
I saw a thing
Sounds
earlier. Speaking
racist.
of Egyptians,
Yeah.
I saw a post and it was like all these drawings on the wall of like Anubis and all these Egyptian like,
Hieroglyphics, if
but
you
it was
will.
like super deep, and it was like an old one, and it was like, can you believe it was? And the caption said, and they say that this wasn't an advanced civilization. No telling what they really did. And the first comment said, "My retarded 3-year-old draws on the walls all the time at home, and he ain't done shit." That was God, the internet. Retarded 3-year-old. He ain't done shit.
This kid's dumb as fuck.
He does the same thing.
Can't even talk.
So I'm going to kind of close it out here, but so British Columbia, and this would have been probably in the 80s or 90s. They did a
That's where Vancouver's at.
study on
West Coast.
a study on deprivation, like being like in a very dark place, sleep deprivation tapes.
Oh,
and whatnot.
yeah, dude.
It's probably like 90s, 2000s, more so than 80s and 90s. I can't remember exactly, but either way, they would hook them up with all the things in their things to track their
Electrodes
brain,
and shit.
electrodes and whatnot. Yeah,
Excuse me.
and they could see like their brain function was all like firing in their prefrontal cortex, and then there's a spot back here that was firing quite a bit too. And then whenever they got out, they all said that because they all kind of had these like prompts that they went in with, like tigers, lions, bears, like yada yada yada.
That they were scared of?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So whenever they got out of the tank, they were only in there for like 45 minutes, and these people were all said kind of the same things. They were like petrified of something coming and getting them, pretty much. And it kind of comes down to, and this is why these things happen, or why us as kids happen like this or do these things, because there's really actually, to throw all y'all for a loop, there's no evidence of the pagan stuff happening. There's no evidence of really anything of them happening other than them having words for it.
Yeah.
So somebody has made this thing up of where they would put somebody in there for punishment, is kind of what I'm saying. So
A control measure.
So what I'm saying is, when we're kids, the whole thing with the Midnight Man happened in 2010, and it spread through Reddit's Creepypasta and No Sleep and all these other forums.
Creepy pasta.
Yeah, it's a subreddit on, like, it's a forum or
Holy
whatever.
shit! That's what y'all had for supper.
Yeah, it was spooky.
Yeah, so people make stuff up on creepypasta pretty much, and just for the sole fact of it being kind of a little bit creepy or whatever. So it spread, like, this was one of the ones that spread really, really fast. So think of probably in our parents' time how quickly Bloody Mary, or, you know, I guess we'd even say like the movies ones, like Jason and Freddy. Freddy would probably be a better one.
Freddy for sure. Dude
Freddy,
comes in your
'cause
dreams.
he's in your dreams and whatnot.
Or the rumor that Marilyn Manson had a rib removed so he could suck his own dick.
Yeah.
That got to every middle school in America.
It was probably another good one as well.
Right, Josh?
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up.
Whatever you say. I think that's totally different.
But so
No, you don't.
kids are much more likely
But I get it.
to press these boundaries
I get why he did it.
because, like I said earlier,
That's what I get.
on the prefrontal cortex thing, when you're in your teens, it's not fully developed yet.
Oh.
So you don't have any
Callback.
You don't have any kind of awareness to, like, not seek danger. That's why when you're a teenager, you kind of feel like you're invincible,
Right.
type of deal.
Yeah.
So
Some
you see-
people, it lasts a little longer.
Yeah, some people doesn't have one at all.
Driving through
I'm
gates and shit.
confident. I'm just confident.
But so that's one of the reasons why we seek out Ouija boards whenever we're teenagers. Whenever we seek out stuff like this, like challenges. I remember some like weird urban legends whenever I was in high school that I probably did just to see. You know, we all have those stories of the bridges that I know
Oh,
we've
yeah.
all talked about,
Yeah.
where you get out and there'd be handprints on the back of it or whatever.
Hell's Bells and shit like
Yeah,
that. The
yeah.
Hell's Bells Bridge. You play Hell's Bells by AC/DC.
Oh, we did that on, is it June the 6th month? Yeah, June 6th, 2006. So
Yeah, 666.
We went to the Hells Bells Bridge and you play the Hells Bells song. And at the beginning, there's like 15 or 20 bells, church bells that
Yeah.
ring. Well, on the 13th bell, you're supposed to turn the car off. And your car's in neutral and they're supposed to push you across the bridge.
Oh shit.
Well, we didn't get pushed across the bridge, but when we turned the car back on, the volume was all the way up to 100. It was loud as fuck.
Holy shit, dude. That's
Whoa.
fucking wild. It's
was-
fucking
it
cool,
was
dude.
wild.
That's
You
wild.
see that hair stamp on my arm?
Oh, wow.
Oh,
Goosebumps.
shit,
Goosebumps
dude.
Goose over here.
Oh, damn.
Damn, Goose.
Woo. I'm
Yeah.
feeling the back of my neck, dude. Our spidey senses started quivering a little bit. I remember that, but I don't remember like the rules, like the 13th time. Like I
Yeah.
remember us going, but I don't remember that part. I remember people used to say, you know, the Bloody Mary or whatever. Like you go in your bathroom and you turn the lights off and you look in the mirror and say, I'm not gonna say it 3 times.
Candyman's the same thing. We mentioned Candyman earlier. Candyman's the same thing.
If you say Beetlejuice 3 times, that son of a bitch would be
Candyman.
pop up and come run around in
They
here.
love this place, man.
He would, dude.
Let me get. We still got some chicken Alfredo.
Beetlejuice would love this fucking place. He'd fit right in, wouldn't he?
I'd goose his collar.
Would you?
Yeah.
I got you.
I'd
I'd get his belly.
Yeah, oh, no, let me get your belly.
I do.
We were talking about what we could put in Josh's belly button earlier. This son of a bitch
I got a big
is,
belly button on.
yeah, the volume of this
You
thing.
can get a knuckle in that bag.
Yeah, you can do shots out of it.
You can take
get
double shots out of it.
Yeah.
man.
Charge double for belly
Yeah.
shots. They have to pull out the tall boy, a double shooter for me.
I think he can. I think you can penetrate him through that thing.
You think
I
so?
think it counts. I think
No,
that's-
that's why I was such a big baby. I had a huge umbilical cord, you know?
I think if you put your wiener in that thing, you're rounding third.
The wiener. There's a wiener.
Golly.
Well,
I swear I'm almost done, guys. I told y'all that I got deep into this because I thought it was so cool.
this
but
was us in the classroom back in the day. The teacher started talking too long. We was like, look at Josh's fucking belly button, dude. You seen this shit?
so,
Somebody get Guinness Book of World Records on the phone.
so based on
Coach Young, how do we contact Guinness?
Oh God, Ripley's Believe It or Not.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. I just so the reason that I kind of went all through this and then came back around to like this stuff probably isn't real is because of the way we're made is we're made to be survivalists. We have millions of years of DNA inside of us that teach us like how to react to situations or whatever.
Yeah, dude. We wouldn't be here if it wasn't that the case. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So we're wired to be survivalists or whatever. And we also have something in our brain called the amygdala, and that's kind of what I think.
That's why alligators are ornery.
Yep.
That's the medulla.
Oh my God.
All them teeth, ain't no way to
Mama's wrong.
Ain't got no toothbrush.
But the amygdala is something that we have made, and that's the thing that I talked about earlier. That's in like the left side of your brain, kind of right above your ear.
Ligma.
And funny enough, dudes have bigger ones of those than chicks do.
Oh yeah.
Because we have a better fight or flight response.
Our ligma is bigger.
Yep.
And the amygdala works a lot faster than the rest of our brain. So it will tell us, like, if you see something out of the corner of your brain, like I'm sure all of us have walked into a room and saw, like, a coat on a rack.
Oh, yeah, dude.
And
This son of a bitch gets me every...
Yeah.
Dude, I could have that in my house.
I was going to say, you see stuff like that, and you're like...
I'd be trying to dance with it, you know what I mean?
And you do, like, a fucking
I
kung fu
say,
thing against it, like...
Mademoiselle?
But stuff like that, like...
What are you doing up this late?
Whenever we go anywhere, even our bedroom is set up like this now. I sleep closer to the door
Yeah.
so that if a rapist comes in, they rape me
you first. It's a good
Yeah.
idea. That's a good idea.
I thought that was every man did that.
I don't do it to get raped. I do it to protect my family.
Okay.
I hang my butt off the side of the bed.
Okay.
That's his first line of defense. He's come on in here. Let them go.
Honey, run!
I got my ass
It's gonna
out.
be a minute.
I got my bussy out. Come and get a piece of this bussy. He got a wagon on him too. I seen him that day at the summer
He's got
vibe.
some pants hanging on the back
He
pockets.
does.
Hold on, let me
That's what he sleeps in.
Let me douche real quick.
All right.
God.
Last two things. If you guys can calm down for a second. But that whole thing of seeing something out of the corner of your mind or corner of your paraphernalia para what?
Your
Peripheral.
Ligmas.
Yeah.
Yeah. Seeing something out of the corner of your eye that's not really there, but your amygdala says, holy shit, we should be scared of something over there, and you react.
Better safe than sorry.
Yeah, it's better safe than sorry. It's exactly what it is.
You think they went to room 40 to do it?
To where?
Room 40. You don't think so?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Room 40.
Room 40?
Yeah, room for these nuts in your mouth.
That's the peripheral thing's called pareidolia. And to close this out, I was talking about Ouija boards earlier. Ouija boards are the only reason that they work is because they're an ideal motor effect, and you make these minute movements while you're doing them because you want something to happen, and everybody ends up kind of doing like a hive mind thing and doing it all together.
Is minute spelled like minute, or is it like minute?
Yeah, it's spelled just like that.
N-E-W-T.
No, N-U-T-E,
I've got
not
an instance of
N-E-W-T.
that Ingludium. What'd you call it?
Ligma.
Amygdala?
Yeah. Probably like 4 months ago, we were kayaking. It was a real warm day. And
4 months ago, it was real warm.
Oh fuck! I don't know.
It's
when it
May.
was.
4 months ago was January.
Man. None of that's true.
Real warm.
None of that's true.
But we had the coldest January on record.
I went kayaking in December one time and got sprayed by a skunk.
Oh, tell your story. Tell your lies. Tell your lies.
Okay. I saw something swimming in the water. I was standing on the riverbank.
A fish?
Melissa was in her kayak. And I saw something swimming. So she said my eyes got huge, and I just grabbed her kayak, and she just froze up because she said the look on my face. And I moved her kayak, and a fucking water moccasin was trying to get in with her.
Yeah.
And I just jerked.
Oh, damn, dude. So it really was.
It was quick.
Yeah.
I was proud of that one. Yeah.
Sometimes the whole point of everything I just said was like sometimes it can play tricks on you.
Oh,
and
yeah.
the whole thing of you being in like this dark space where we don't see well at night anyways, but your senses do heighten. So your brain will, like, if you think enough that there's a threat out there, your brain
It will believe
make a
it.
threat.
Yeah.
And it'll kind of materialize something.
You'll hallucinate it, or
Yeah.
just maybe just like your mind, like your mind playing tricks on you. You know.
Well, I mean, it's kind of the reason I called back that X-Files episode of where the people were getting killed or hunted by something that was like their worst nightmare. That's what would happen if you were in that situation. Right. Whatever you were worried about the most in that moment, you're going to imagine that's happening.
Do you think some of that has deteriorated as how cushy lifestyles we have now?
I think that's the reason that we have a high anxiety.
Because we just don't have nowhere for that to go.
Yeah, we don't have as worries anymore. We don't have to worry about.
So now we have anxiety.
We don't have to worry about a tiger coming out of nowhere and chewing our legs off.
I remember
now what it is a post on social media.
Well, not only that, I think that we have irrational fears too at the same sense, because like I talked to my dad one time about anxiety before he passed away, and he was like, y'all's generation has anxiety because my parents' generation, like my dad, like my grandfather, he worked all fucking day and went home dog tired. He didn't have time for anxiety.
Yeah, he didn't have time.
You know what I mean? Because I think a lot of times now, like you're a pretty physical person. Like your job's physical. I don't use any kind of physical, like, you know, unless I'm doing something around the house or something. Like I'm not exercising like I should be or none of that shit. So my brain, it just overthinks shit all the time, you know. And ever since I lost my leg, especially, like we're not being afraid of like dying or nothing like that, because I've definitely had that before, but like not even that, but just worried about little shit, you know, just things that don't even matter. Yeah, don't even matter. Like just things that like my dad would never even look the other way for, you know, like shit, you know what I mean? And also things I wouldn't look the other way for even 15 years ago. Like, you know what I mean? But now I just have so much time to like think about things. And then also we see things like you said, social media or on the news, or we see other people doing shit or the things we think they're doing, maybe, you know what I mean? So we're all the time thinking, well, damn, I need to be doing this or I need to be doing that.
Speaking of social media and like how big the reach is now, like everybody says like how bad crime is these days and whatnot, and it's bad. That's 100% sure.
Yeah, it's always going to be bad.
But like, can you imagine how bad people were?
Oh, before shit was out everywhere in the open, like the Wild West. Like he was just talking about, you think about you just shot somebody in your way. Yeah. You just bury him and go on. Who's going to police shit? Yeah. You know what I mean?
There was nothing. There was no consequences.
I think now you got more consequences, you know, because you'll get blackballed or like trial by media. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, even these days you say the wrong word on social media and that could end everything for you.
Have y'all seen all this shit, this Diddy trial, like what he likes? Like the shit I saw, I just caught bits and pieces. So I'm just going to tell you what I saw, not verbatim, but the woman Cassie, I can't think, Cassandra Ventura's her name. She's our age, a little bit older, but he's like 55. So he groomed her pretty much, right? We already know this, but she was on stand last week and she was having to tell like the stuff he would have her do. So he would pay this guy, Daniel, I think was his name. Well, that was his last name, but he was a male escort. He would pay this guy to come have sex with Cassie in front of him, and then he would go in a different room, like in this hotel or whatever, like penthouse that he had, while they were having sex. He would have this guy pull out and finish on Cassie, and then she would take his semen, come, and go in there and rub it on Diddy's nipples.
That's disgusting.
That's what he was into. That's what she had to get up there to say on the stand. And also, he would pay people to piss in her mouth, and he would watch it. Like, what kind of person? Like, that's like power. Like, you don't even get off on that shit. That's just getting off on being able to tell somebody to do some shit.
That's demonic in my
opinion. So that's fucked up. But yeah, that's the two things I've heard. And I was like, well, that's enough. I want to hear about this. That's enough to put somebody away forever in my book.
Yeah, that's gross.
And I'm not shaming kinks. You know, but obviously she was like that's in a position. But then I also think about, hey, she took $20 million of hush money. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
You know, like it's not good, and I'm not saying I'm not.
It's definitely not
excusing
good.
behavior. I'm not. That's behavior is what is the word? Deviant, sexual deviant.
So I think she should be able to keep that money.
Well, she did. I mean, her and her husband. They made her husband leave the courtroom whenever she had to do
I
all
thought
that.
I did read something where I thought he said he walked out.
He was there, but they made him go into a different room whenever because they didn't want shit to pop off in there, dude. I mean, hearing that shit. Could you imagine? Like, you've already worked through it.
Yeah.
Like, you're married to this woman. She's 8 months pregnant, dude. She's pregnant as hell on the stand with your baby. And she's talking about dudes pissing in her mouth, dudes having sex with her, and going and rubbing semen on Puff Daddy's nipples. You'd be like, dude.
Him and, yeah, just whatever that
Bad boys for life.
there's a portion of me that I feel like he actually knows some stuff about like some worse stuff that's going on that I would like to come out.
There's going to, I guess.
There's a good portion of me that wishes they would just throw him off the top of that building that's the prison in New York.
Rikers Island or whatever.
No, it's just in the middle of New York.
Oh, yeah,
It's
he's
a
like in
building.
that skyscraper prison. Yeah,
the same place that Sam Bankman-Fried is.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, the crypto guy.
Yeah.
No, the Ponzi scheme dude.
It's
It was crypto. What was that stuff? FXX or something?
Yeah, I don't remember.
I get it confused with the TV network all the time.
Somebody just interviewed him.
XRP or something. XRP, I think is
XRP, I think
yeah.
is what it was,
I used to
yeah.
get confused with FX, the TV
And
station.
his mom is like the, what's she in charge of?
Sam Bankman?
Yeah.
I don't know that.
Oh, his mom is like high up in the stock exchange or something.
Huh.
Or maybe in the federal government, like over the stock market.
Yeah, I don't know that one, buddy.
know either.
Well, maybe I'm just making it up.
You might.
I don't think you would just make that up. I don't.
I was gonna say, I don't think you would.
I think I'm a credible source.
Well, I don't think that. I mean, you
quote
can make
that.
shit up, but
You can quote that.
it's more like songs about the Red Bull flute. You're more that way. I don't think you making up just ideas about the financial
songs
stuff.
of my people. The songs of
I just
my
don't
people.
think that's possible. You've seen an article or something. You just didn't dream that up.
Ooh, it
That'd be
is
like
coming from
me
Cotton
thinking
Eye
about gay stuff. You know what I mean? It just wouldn't be possible.
I wanted to bring this up.
That's sus, as the kids say.
It's sus.
I think he does think about it. Go ahead, Wes.
Maybe 3 more minutes. Did y'all see Brock Lesnar's daughter?
Yeah.
Won like her 3rd straight
She's a
shot
beast,
put
dude.
thing.
They'll choke you the fuck up.
Golly.
I know you'd like to
I
climb
mean-
that tree, wouldn't you?
No, not actually. No, because
Shit.
Like,
He's
she
a big
looks-
guy.
I was
Tamagotchi in there and sit on his chest.
I was actually going to say poor girl because she looks just like her dad.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's very Baltic looking.
But there is some skinny black guy out there that is going to love her.
He's a pecker at long. He's gonna be 130 pounds soaking wet.
Now she'll end up with a softball gal for sure.
Oh, gal, what do you think? I didn't
But-
say that, Brock. He did.
Them thighs too thick to scissor.
His genes are strong though.
Yeah.
I mean, like that's all him. And
He
her.
was like a big time wrestler in college and stuff too, wasn't he?
Yeah, he won
National
No, that was Kurt
championship.
Lesnar that I'm thinking of, or Kurt Lesnar, Kurt Angle that I'm thinking of.
Trent Lesnar.
But he was
Kurt Angle's
of
the
that
one
caliber.
that won whatever
Yeah,
with a
Kurt
broken
Angle.
neck.
Yeah,
Yeah,
The-
Kurt
yeah.
Angle.
He won national. He was like the Olympic dude.
He was a gold,
Yeah.
Olympic gold,
Gold medalist, yeah. Kurt Angle was like Nebraska or Iowa, maybe one of those Midwestern schools. He was like a national champion in
Yeah,
wrestling.
but he was the Olympian though, right?
No.
Kurt Angle.
Kurt Angle was.
Angle,
We're talking about Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar did UFC then too.
Yeah.
Has lunchbox hands, man.
Yeah. So he was a wrestler
In college.
and then
Yeah.
then he went to UFC,
Fight.
and then he
Went to WWE.
WWE
and finished
or whatever,
out.
yeah.
And now he just is like a huge like spokesperson for like mental health and like combat sports.
yeah.
Yeah. Because, like, you know, you're
I was gonna say, I don't
hurting
think-
somebody, you
I
know.
was gonna say he's kind of like Kurt these days. He doesn't really have a neck
Yeah,
left.
he talks about, like, you know, taking care of yourself and all that
Yeah.
shit, you know.
Man, we were talking about DDP the other day, and man, that dude does not look great.
No, dude, you think Ric Flair has, what, he's like 80?
Yeah.
And that dude is still, it's them gummies he makes, man. Ric Flair drip.
I think
Yeah.
he's got the Burt Kreischer, John Daly gene.
Mickey Mantle gene, they
Yeah,
call
the
it.
Yeah.
Mantle gene. Yeah.
Burt's going to fall off the rails anytime.
Yeah, I was gonna say at any moment, Bert's.
He's as red as Wes's shirt 24/7.
Yeah.
His cooking show's gotten pretty good, though.
I still don't watch it.
I watch it because the workaholics
I've
guys
fallen
on it.
off the Burt train a long time ago. I like Tom's stand-up. Don't like his podcast.
What do you think
but,
about
man,
Bad Thoughts?
It was really good.
I love Bad Thoughts.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen Bad Thoughts on Netflix, Tom Segura's sketch show, it's twisted. You have to be a Tom Segura fan, I think,
Yeah, it's different.
or kind of know, because all those are his bits. Like he has a bit about the Siamese twins.
Yeah.
About him, like he was sitting down one night to eat supper, and they're watching TLC, and like these Siamese twins, like what the fuck? And he's like,
Yeah.
He's like, yeah.
There was a couple of them that I remember from it. I'm not a big
And then,
enough
like,
fan, but I remember.
Bike scene, like where that dude's like, you're Tom Segura, bikes, and like, he's like on the plane.
Yeah,
little midget dudes. He's like, you think calling them midgets as bad as calling somebody the other word? And then there's a black midget on the plane. He's like, what? He's like, he can say both of them, right? And Tom's like, man, just shut the fuck up, just chill. And then the pilots, I don't want to give the show away, but yeah, good show.
It's
Bad
good.
Thoughts.
It was better than I thought it was going to be.
There's going to be a season 2, I reckon.
Yeah, it's already been.
Yeah, green lighted. Yeah. But yeah, that's all I got. Y'all got anything else y'all got coming up, going on? Watched anything good lately?
We had that mountain lion while we were in Boise.
Oh, yeah.
That was fun. We
Yeah.
stayed at a yurt. Boise is surrounded by like a huge 100,000 acre national forest, public land. And we stayed in a yurt that's maintained by the Park Services. But when we walked out the next morning, there were mountain lion tracks in our foot tracks. So by the time we got there until we left, the mountain lion came within like 75 yards of our yurt.
Damn.
And
A mountain lion's as big as a African lion.
Yeah.
Not a big, but you know, like the females.
We might post that video I sent.
That's good. That's good enough to keep your senses going. Like
Yeah,
looking
dude.
for a mountain lion.
A mountain lion to tear your face off.
My
Yeah.
ligmas are going off.
How big is a mountain lion? What do you think they weigh? Like a full-grown mountain lion?
290.
290? I'm going to say 250.
I think they're 180.
180?
Yeah.
I
Mountain
think they're
lion.
pretty big.
They're not as big as African lions, probably.
Well, I don't
No,
know. I don't-
not as big as African
African
lions.
lions are like 500. Or
Yeah.
I'm talking like the males. I'm talking
They're
like a
8
female
foot.
African
They're
lion.
like 8 foot when they stand up. Is that?
It's also called a puma or a panther, the American mountain lion. And they are, let's see, how much do they weigh? It doesn't say. Entomology.
Average weight.
Average weight. I guess I could just do that, couldn't I?
Cougar, lion, bear, fair.
I was just like, do average weight for a male though.
It is 120 to 160 pounds.
Yeah.
I think I can take one of them.
The
You think you
paws,
could?
There's been guys that have choked them out. I think you have to choke them
You
out.
got to pull them. They say if you ever get into a fight with a tiger or a lion or a big cat, to hug them as hard as you can so they can't get to your jugular.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's the first place they go to.
You got to hug
yeah.
the shit out of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Give them a big old hug.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say I did see a video of a dude earlier this week scaring one off with he just had a pistol.
Average weight of African lion is 330 to 570.
Dang, that's a big swing.
That's a big motherfucker, boy. But females are probably 330, I
Yeah, I
would
was gonna
say.
say
Yeah.
the big guys are
The
probably,
females do all the hunting, though. You know that?
Yeah.
The dudes just sit back and chill. They just
They're
chill.
protectors.
They protect her, yeah. The females, they just get about 5 females to go over. Just handle that.
Yeah, they get a bunch of 5 females
Oh, man.
together and go hunt them gazelles.
Yeah, or
and
them
whatnot.
hyenas.
Yeah.
Keep them
I met
hyenas
2
away.
giraffes in Boise. We were riding scooters on our last day there, and I look up and there's just a fucking giraffe hanging his head over the fence, like over the street. Like the giraffe enclosure backs up to this just residential city street.
Oh,
And the
yeah.
giraffes are right there, and they're just hanging their necks over, eating trees out from the neighbor's yard.
Eating them out.
Yeah, and I was like, holy fuck, it's a giraffe. Wes would love this.
Yeah. Giraffes are my favorite animal. If y'all.
They're pretty sick. The giraffes are pretty sick. We got to see them fight in that video.
Yeah. Yeah.
These two, they get retired and elderly animals, and they had a male, and they got another male from another zoo, and they fucking hate each other, so they had to build 2 different enclosures.
That's
Yeah,
hilarious.
that'd be
dude.
cool. I would just put them in together every now and then. Let them do the neck swing.
do
You know that it's probably good for them every once in a while to do that shit.
Yeah, get that anxiety out.
the staff put a pot in
Yeah.
on Charlie and Chester.
Give both of them
Put
a couple cents.
put fucking GoPros on top of their heads. That'd be
Damn.
sick, dude.
GoPro stock would go up.
We might be onto something.
Give them
Yeah.
Dubby.
Giraffe fighting.
Yeah.
we just start. We gotta. Okay. Next thing we're buying for the podcast is a giraffe.
And And then we need y'all to fund the second one though.
Yes. We can only get one probably.
Yeah. So like, share, subscribe.
Right.
We're gonna need to get to that.
Maybe we could
500.
tell them it's like a Noah's Ark situation, and you need 2 of them. You'll have to dress up like Noah, though.
Yeah.
You'll be the only
I
one.
thought you wanted me to dress up like one of the giraffes.
Oh, you could do that too.
Yeah.
You can stand on top of Wes's shoulders, and I'll be the salesman.
Yeah.
There we go. Well, all right. Well, thank y'all for listening. I think this one's. It's been an episode.
The
been
circus
one.
master.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You like a carnival barker is what you
I would
are.
love to
You'd
be.
be.
I'm thinking about running for the Simpson County Town Crier.
Yeah.
Yeah. My name is Nick Cook.
Josh Arrington.
West Dub.
Thanks for listening too.
Fine by me.
Love y'all. Take it easy.
Bye. See y'all next time.